palette is like a keyboard, you know? I always tell my students that too. That's the way they think of their palette. It's just like having a piano in front of them with 88 keys. You got to know where everything is, and you lay it all out there, and everything can come out of that. So it's just one of the things I do. This is my most recent effort that I think that I finished.
Is there any kind of sketches, pencil sketches behind it?
No.
No.
Oh no. I never do that, and I didn't do that ever before. My work has always been improvisational, and I very much am interested in that. I do the works on paper all the time, and in between the paintings, I'm doing the works on paper, and they embody that's where my thinking is. The idea of doing a sketch for something else is not something that I've ever really been that much interested in. I'll develop ideas, but I mean, this work is especially improvisational, and it's trying to understand that every work is its own reality, and the goal is to engage with it fully and to let it lead me where it wants to go. So that's the whole point of this for me. Well, when I started doing the white paintings last summer, that was a real effort out of kind of the polychromism that I had been pursuing for so long. And moving everything up into a higher value, really kind of changed my perspective. So I think since, and it's an ongoing thing, the white paintings were always kind of impossible. I mean, it was a desire to make something impossible. I wanted them to disappear, and at the same time to have something there. And so because structure, of course, is very important to me. Dialogue, structure. But you can only have structure when you have contrast. So this idea of like having no contrast but still having structure was an impossibility, but that really appealed to me. I think when I first got here, I was very influenced by the light, and I do. I think in the summer times here, the intensity of the light, the bleaching, that probably had something to do with the white paintings too. It's that idea of just how saturated everything becomes with light. But I think that part of my idea is that painting is always an expression of your being. So it's memory is sensation, and memories are not just like of a place. It's kind of like being in a place. So it's sort of memories of being, and I kind of think that's what my paintings are about these days. Anyways, is they're about themselves. They're about the actions. They're about the embodied gesture. They're about their own reality. I never would have thought that I would have come to Texas at all. I never. It was,
even though that you know Nancy probably from phones.
Well, yeah, that show happened. I was in New York, and she did this show of the artists from our gallery, Ruth Siegel Gallery, and I thought, well, okay, Texas, fine. My painting went down to Texas. It's just very interesting. Then
you would never expect
yourself
physically,
but here we are, and we've been here now 24 years. One of the impressions as an artist coming here and coming from the circles that I was part of is there was a certain kind of contemporary art provincialism in Dallas in a way where I came from a tradition I came from a group of artists that were very much thinking about the whole history of Western art. And so I knew many artists who were realist artists. And of course, back in the 80s in New York, you had everything. I mean, you had the most cutting edge contemporary, but realism was a huge force. There were galleries in New York that were realist galleries. But when coming to Texas, it seemed that there was a very narrow viewpoint about what contemporary art was. It was very narrow, postmodern, doctrinaire, and I didn't feel that there was an openness to there wasn't the same kind of openness to the whole spectrum of what painting could be in North Texas. In the 80s, there was, there with the New York Gallery and the presence in New York, and there were shows. I was from that time. I mean, I think I wasn't included in the modern artists of the 80s show, but I was, I guess, one of those artists of the 80s, you'd have to say. Given that in the 1980s I had several solo shows in New York City and around and in a lot of itself. I think there was a time in my early career where I was so influenced by everything I looked at and saw and things going around me and competing with everything else around me and all that. I don't think I've been doing that as much in the last several years. And certainly in the last 2 years, I think I've wanted this work just to grow out of itself and out of who I am for whatever it is. So, I mean, I have no idea whether the work of the last 4 years, where it fits, how it relates. I don't know. You could tell me better than I would know. As abstract as my paintings are these days, I don't think of them in terms of landscape. And I know many people will say when they look at these paintings, they'll think, oh, they're like looking down at something from above. But I never think of them that way. I just don't. I don't know, it's interesting. That's one of the nice things about works on paper where you use the water media is that it holds its own so very well. And I've seen paintings where they've done a kind of an effect like that in oil painting. But I don't know, there's something about canvas that, I don't know if they always hold out. So I'm not sure how I would do it. But I thought about it. I thought about I wonder if I could have big passages like that that would come out of the oil painting.
These seem kind of had the magic effect, almost like some forms swim in and out, just without any obstacle. They can just go in and out so easily.
Yeah, I know, it's really kind of neat.
And you said you can do it kind of free form very quickly, and you just respond very well with the kind of effort. Wonderful.